back to Access Anime. I'm Henshin Ikeda, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough review of One Piece episode 575. Now, if you remember from last episode, we see Luffy and Usopp going fishing. They catch one fish, which eats another fish, which eats the other fish. So, interesting haul. But it weights the Thousand Sunny down, and they're sinking into a whirlpool, which is called the White Storm. Now, before I go any further, going to a different scene, which I kind of liked. I thought it was funny. It added humor for the episode. We do see Sanji and Brook checking out Nami while she's taking a shower, and she's got these clouds on herself. Now we do see Chopper. He's trying to eat the white clouds. Thinks it's like cotton candy, and it looks like he's about to get shocked. I thought it was funny, but again, that was a hilarious scene. But I digress. Moving back to Luffy. Now we do see the whole Thousand Sunny being sucked down into this white storm, but we also hear Robin clarifying what it is. Now, the white storm in general is an underwater whirlpool, and what's even more unique, it's like a living dragon, and it's very random, and also, no one's ever survived it. Now, the moment Luffy hears this, he wants to go straight into it. First of all, he'll be the first ever to survive it, if they do survive, of course. And second of all, they don't know where it's going to end up, but either way, it's going to lead to adventure, and Luffy, he's gung-ho about it. Now, they are riding this white storm for a good amount of time, and eventually they get knocked out by whales. So I thought that was interesting. So you see a school of whales that look like Laboon from Brook's past. Now, Brook instantly thinks that one of the whales is Laboon in general, but it's not. He comes to the assumption this must be Laboon's family. So he starts playing his music, reminiscing, and explaining to the whales that he knows where Laboon is and that you whales must be his family. And they're all happy and overjoyed. We don't know why. Maybe they just love his music, but they end up taking the Thousand Sunny all the way up to the surface, and you see the Straw Hat crew do their countdown, which I love their countdown, until they enter the new world, because this is the first time they've stepped foot or had their boat within the new world. They do 10, 9, 8, and so forth. And they're finally in the new world, and they say goodbye to the whales. Now, what makes this even more unique, after the whales are gone, we see the Navy. Now, we don't know if it's Smoker, we don't know who the heck it is, but we see the Navy in the distance. And that's where the episode actually ends. But again, I'll hold my final thoughts and my rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned, but let's dive right in. Now, we open up this scene not where we left off. In fact, we're introduced to two characters. Well, I should say one, but we see two characters on a different vessel, one being introduced as Ain. Her name is spelled A-I-N. Now, we don't know if she's Navy or if she's a pirate. Same goes for the guy she's with, but we do see hundreds of ships with her and behind her. Very interesting scene. And we see the words being uttered, Master Z. Now, we don't know who Master Z is, but best assumption is Master Z is who these two work for, or work with, or have to report to. Those are my assumptions. But moving on to the next scene, we do see Navy ships, and they're approaching the Thousand Sunny, and they're engulfing the Thousand Sunny too. They're all around it, can't go anywhere. And it's amazing because we see the Straw Hat crew. It's an amazing scene. They're getting fired up. They're planning on taking the Navy down. We see Luffy getting ready for second gear. We see Zoro. He's got the back of the ship. You see Sanji. You see Luffy. You see everyone. But again, Luffy, everyone's fired up. He's fired up. They're going to take the Navy on. And it's going to be an amazing fight. An amazing fight. But then the unexplainable happens. And it's like, huh? They're like, huh? They all vanish. All of the Navy ships, they vanish just when the Straw Hat crew was about to attack them in general. So I thought that was what? Like what? But sorry, I digress. Now we do see Nami. She's trying to explain to everyone on the Straw Hat crew that it was a mirage, and they just don't understand it. But I'll get into that later. Now it does start raining randomly, and then it starts hailstorm. There's a hailstorm. Now, what does this mean for the Straw Hat crew? Well, Nami explains they're in the Muagamar Sea, which the title is called Ill-Tempered Sea. And to break that down even more, the Ill-Tempered Sea is random storms, random weather, and Nami in general learned about this during the 2-year time skip. So she's all aware of this. She's telling the crew everything, that it's going to be horrible in the new world weather-wise, because they don't know what the hell to experience, to look forward to. Each day is going to be new, different. But, you know, technically I think Luffy would probably like that. But sorry, I digress. Moving on. Now we are taken to a different scene where we see the Thousand Sunny being sucked up a wall of water. So the water parts ways, it splits in half, takes the Thousand Sunny up in midair, and we see Frankie. Finally we get to see Frankie, and he shouts out, "Coup de burst," and we see the Thousand Sunny flying in midair. And I thought, okay, so they're going somewhere. No. Because you know what? That's not going to happen. They get struck by lightning. How? Randomly, right? I thought that was funny. And then we are taken to a different scene where now it's amazing outside. It's sunny, it's nice, everyone's overheated. So I can't really explain how the weather changed that quick, but it does. And now you see well, Straw Hat Crew in general, relaxing, taking it easy. So we're taken to a different scene now. And we see Sanji. Finally he gets to cook, and he's trying to cook the fish that Luffy and Usopp caught. But, you know, because of the weather and the salt hitting the fish, there's not a lot left, but he saved what he could. Now we do see all of his food disappearing, and he calls Luffy and everyone over to, you know, start eating. The alcohol's gone, the food's gone, you know, the refrigerator's empty, and all of a sudden, the best assumption they can come up with is an ant ghost. I was like, what, really? An ant ghost? Yeah, so you see this little ant ghost walking around trying to escape, and they're going after it until eventually we find out it's a little woman, and she shouts out, "Mini Mini full rebound." Now apparently that's her technique, Mini Mini full rebound, and she grows. So she went from this to that, you know, like super big. So now she's a giant on the Thousand Sunny. Now I assume the Thousand Sunny would have shrunk, but that's just me. I mean, big woman, Sanji's gonna be glaring at her. Where's she gonna go? Obvious she's a devil fruit user. I mean, if you piss off the crew and you sink it, what are you gonna do? Shrink back and go back into your bottle? Probably. But sorry, I digress. Moving on. Now we do find out the girl takes on Luffy. This is what I loved about this episode. We see Luffy fighting a girl. And it's an amazing battle, by the way, that only lasted, a couple seconds. Because you see an amazing scene. You see Luffy kicking her butt and tossing her in the water. So now you see this big giant girl, which we don't know her name yet, being tossed overboard by Luffy. Now eventually he notices she is a devil fruit user. She's got to be saved, you know, something's got to be done. So he's showing signs of remorse now because she can't swim because she's a devil fruit user. But Sanji, knowing Sanji, he's gonna save her. She's a woman. So he jumps in the water and saves her. Now eventually when she gets back to the Thousand Sunny, she mentions the words, "Dad, I'm sorry." Now we have no idea what that means. We are taken to a different scene, and a lot of information is being thrown at us about who she is, who her father is, and what's up with her father. First of all, she was born a giant. So she's not a little girl. She was born a giant. Now apparently she ate the devil fruit known as the Mini Mini. So she ate a devil fruit called Mini Mini. And it gets even better in my opinion because no matter what size she is, she retains her giant's strength. So even as a little ant or a little girl, 5 millimeters worth, she still has the power of a giant. Now that can definitely come in handy. But you know what's funny throughout this whole episode? Luffy never once mentions, "Can you be part of my crew?" This is one of the first times I've ever seen him not say anything about a devil fruit user that he shows signs of remorse to. Just putting that out there. But sorry, I digress. Moving on. We do find out this little girl's name is Lily Stomach. So I hope I pronounced her name right. So her name is Lily Stomach. Stomach. Hard to pronounce her last name because it's with E-N and it's stomach. But sorry, I digress. Moving on. Again, we know her name is Lily, and she has a title. She's known by Lily the Glutton, based on what she can eat probably, because she definitely loves food. But when she packs it away, you can't tell because she ate the Straw Hat Crew out of everything. All their food is gone. But sorry, I digress again. Moving on. Now we do find out she was traveling in a glass jar before she boarded the Thousand Sunny. So she was just in a little, use an example, she was like in a little glass more or less, and she was floating around because she can go to any size she wants. And eventually she got on board the Thousand Sunny by coincidence, and again she landed on the Thousand Sunny and she was looking for her dad. And then it led to her eating all the food and supplies, sadly. But moving on to a different scene, we find out Lily's father, the information about her father. This is what we need to know. Who is your father? Well, her father is actually the greatest pirate chef in the New World. Sanji knows who he is, by the way, because the name Panza Fry rings a bell. So her father, Lily's father's name is Panza Fry. and Sanji does know him. Now I'm wondering, is there going to be competition once they meet? We don't know. But moving on, we do find out he's a top volcano cooking chef, if that makes any sense. And to be honest, what comes to mind when I hear volcano chef is a giant cooking over a volcano, and truth be told, I was spot on. So we do see a scene with a giant cooking over a volcano. Now the reason why he was missing in general is because he steals from pirates, and he also steals from the Navy. He steals food. Now eventually this adds up over time, and the Navy put a reward. He's wanted for 100 million berries. So he's up there, definitely up there. Now he is like Robin Hood in a sense. He steals from, well, both the Navy and the pirates, but he feeds starving people. So he's got a heart, very, very unique. A giant with a heart, has a daughter, kind of shows the same signs as being very, loving and whatnot. All I can say is I'm unique. I need to see this guy. I need to see what he's capable of doing and what he's gonna cook for Luffy. That's all I can say. But sorry, I digress. After we find out Luffy's now drooling because he's like, your father's a chef and the best in the new world. He's trying to envision all the food he could be having. And then you see Lily drooling because she starts pointing out all the food he can make. And that's just it, bam. Luffy's now in it for the long run, the longest run, because you know what? He promises Lily the dad. Like, we're gonna get your dad back. Now we do find out, sadly, he's being taken to Impel Down. That's the sad part. So that's kind of why Luffy wants to help Lily in general, because Ace was brought to Impel Down. So there's a little sad side to this story, and it gets to Luffy. But we also find out the reason why Lily is out there in general. In order for Panzerfrei, to get to Impel Down, he has to cross the sea that Luffy and the crew's at in general. Sorry about those brief pauses, but I was going for dramatic effect. Didn't really work. But anyways, that's right. The Navy has to cross the same sea as the Straw Hat Crew's in right now. So she was hoping to run into them and maybe save her father in general. At least that was the plan. So at least we know where Panzerfrei's gonna be at. He's not at Impel Down yet, but he's getting there. Now we are taken to a different scene. We do see all of the Straw Hat Crew being fired up, riveted. Now that Luffy said he's gonna save Lily's father, Panzerfrei, everyone else makes the same promise. And it's an amazing speech, amazing. Everyone's warmed up, ready to go. That's what we love to see. Now we are taken to a different scene. We see a submarine. We don't know if it belongs to the Navy. We don't know if it belongs to pirates. But I'll spoil it. It belongs to Neo Navy. That's right, the Neo Navy. Now I have no idea if the Neo Navy belongs to the Navy, or if they're rejects from the Navy, or if they're pirates. But it's been my experience that anyone with the word Neo is usually a faction within a faction. So they were probably members of the Navy at one point in time, and their goal is to take out pirates that are being taken out to Impel Down in other locations. They just want to eliminate the scum. They want to kill pirates. Not the Navy, at least to my knowledge, just the pirates. But if the Navy gets in their way, I'm assuming they're just going to push them away. Now again, we are taken to the submarine, and we see Ain, which is the girl I introduced at the beginning of the episode as being what appears to be a captain or the leader of one of these pirate ships that belong to Neo Navy. She's trying to contact the captain of the submarine by the name of Shuzo, and he doesn't want to answer, but eventually he does answer, and they're going over their plan. Now their plan is to go after Panzerfrei. That's their next target, ironically, right? Now they also are aware that he's not at Impel Down yet, but he's being transported there, and they're going to target him before he gets to Impel Down. So that's definitely going to be interesting to see in the next episode. And again, we do find out they're part of Neo Navy. And what's kind of interesting is toward the end of the episode, we see the submarine about to emerge. Now, at the end of the scene for this episode, we do see a lot of fog surrounding the Straw Hat Crew in general, and they can't see anything that's in front of the Thousand Sunny. Now, we do see the Navy being spotted, and we see Panzerfrei on board. Now, what we don't know is if Smoker's on board or not. But again, that's where the episode ends. Now, for final thoughts, first of all, is Smoker on board the same ship as Panzerfrei? We don't know, but I'm kind of interested to see where this is going to go from there. Now, as for these Neo Navy members, are they part of the Navy? Are they a faction within the Navy? Are they rejects from the Navy? Or are they just common pirates that decide to become Neo Navy pirates in general? We don't know, but it's interesting to see where this is going to go. Now, one more final thought I will throw out there. I'm wondering if Luffy's going to ask Lily to join his crew because she's a Devil Fruit user and she's unique, or if she's going to ask her father to join. We don't know, but it will be funny when and if they say yes or no. But again, that ends it for my final thoughts. As per my rating, I'm giving this a 3.5 out of 5. I should give this a 4 because it was kind of unique, but I didn't see a drawn out fight, so I cannot by all means give this a 4 out of 5. I didn't see any drama or emotion, like an emotional feel from this episode. I mean, we see Luffy's, softer side. He was showing remorse for Lily when she was knocked off board his ship, but that wasn't enough for me to give this a 4 out of 5. So final rating, 3.5 out of 5. But again, that ends it for my walkthrough review of One Piece episode 575, and definitely stay tuned for later. I have at least 3 more walkthroughs and reviews to do for today, so I'm not going anywhere. And again, that ends it for today. Definitely comment down below, thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe above, and let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the next episode coming up. And I know I said that ends it for today, that ends it for now. I've got more coming, so definitely stay tuned. But again, check me out on Twitter and follow me if you like. But that ends it for now. I gotta go, guys. Before I go, I gotta say it. Can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.